Last week we visited the Harry Potter studio in London, and it was an amazing experience, but there are a few things that could have gone smoother.
That's why in this video we are going to share everything you need to know. Transport option, ticket hacks, and a full walkthrough of the studio with insider tips, so you can make the most of your visit.
Even if you're not the biggest Harry Potter fan, there's a lot here you will love. So let's start with the easiest part, getting there from London. The easiest way for most visitors is to book a tour that includes transport, and we will explain how that works in the next section. But if you want to go independently, the simplest way is to take a train from Euston Station to Watford Junction. The journey takes around 15 to 45 minutes, depending on the time of day, and you can expect return tickets to start around £25.
From Watford Junction, Warner Bros makes it nice and easy by providing a free shuttle bus to the studio, which is included with your ticket. Overall, this is the quickest and simplest way if you'd rather take public transport, and it's very likely that you'll save a little bit of money too.
But do bear in mind that it will require some extra planning.
If you are going independently, the studio ticket alone costs £58 per adult and £47 per children. Add in the train and you are looking at roughly around £85 per person minimum.
Now, the other option is booking your experience with transport included. And not just any transport, a Harry Potter branded bus. Very fancy! Prices directly through the Warner Bros website can start from £94 per person depending on the day.
But here's a question. Why would you pay that price if you can book the exact same experience with the same transport provider but for less?
For example, using the same date, let's say the 3rd of March, through the Warner Bros website it costs £135, whereas through Get Your Guide it costs £121. That's £14 less per person. And if you're traveling as a family or a group, you're saving quite a bit with this simple hack. This is actually the experience we booked ourselves, so we can confirm it's reliable and worked perfectly. If you want to book the same tickets through Get Your Guide, you can scan the QR code appearing on screen or check the link in the description.
Besides the fully branded Harry Potter designs on the outside of the bus, on the inside there are screens where you can keep yourself entertained for the ride to the studio. You can play games, listen to music, or even better, get into the Harry Potter spirit as they play one of the movies.
One important tip though, the bus is only equipped with USB chargers. So if you know you'll be using your phone for epic pictures and videos, just remember to bring a USB cable or a portable charger so you don't run out of battery. With the transport and tickets sorted, let's step inside the famous Warner Bros. Studio, The Making of Harry Potter.
The first thing you'll notice outside as you walk off the bus are the giant magic wands. And of course, the iconic Harry Potter facade. It already feels special before you even step inside. Make sure you have your tickets ready because you'll need to scan them at the door. As soon as you walk through the door, it's where security checks take place. Your bags will be inspected to ensure no dangerous items are brought in.
And this is a great moment to mention that you are allowed to bring your own food. In fact, we highly recommend doing this. It's a very long day out, and as we'll explain later, the food options inside may not necessarily be suitable for everyone.
With security checks out the way, your first instinct may be to run straight towards the dragon in the main hall and start taking pictures. And trust us, it's impressive. But before you do that, take a minute to prepare. If you want one, grab a digital guide near the entrance, which costs just over £5. And then head to the information desk to pick up your Harry Potter activity passport. This is something many people miss, and it makes the whole tour more fun and interactive.
They do have the activity passports all around the studio, and staff tend to have spare ones. So if you forget to grab it here, do not panic. If you're wearing heavy jackets or carrying large bags, make use of the free cloak room. You'll be walking for several hours and you don't want to feel uncomfortable. And now, you are ready. As you walk into the main hall, it can feel a little overwhelming in the best possible way. Your entry ticket is timed, so you might have a few minutes before you queue up to enter the studio tour. This is a great opportunity to explore the space. There are lots of cool details like the dragon, comparing your hand size with the main actors like Emma Watson. Or you can also check out the restaurants and cafes or even browse the shop. If you want to buy something to wear during the tour, like a house scarf or a robe, this is the perfect moment to do it and fully get into the Harry Potter spirit. This way, you won't get confused with all the muggles.
But if you are just looking to buy a souvenir, it's probably best to wait until the end of the tour since you'll be exiting through the shop anyways. And this way you won't have to carry extra weight around the next few hours.
When you're ready, head towards the starting point of the tour, but make sure you begin queuing about 10 minutes before your allocated time slot. Once your group is called, you will enter a pre-show area before stepping into the first official set. Here's where you watch a few short introduction videos explaining the making of the films and what you're about to experience. It really builds the anticipation nicely and it provides helpful information for the tour ahead.
The studio entrance itself is genuinely magical. Before the doors open, they usually ask if it's anyone's birthday that day. And if it is, that person gets to go to the front and help push the door open. As you step into the Great Hall, prepare to feel the chills, especially if you grew up watching the films.
They have different events throughout the year that will completely change how the tour looks and feels. We visited during Magical Mischief, so it's all about immersing in the filmmaking trickery of the films. For this theme, we got to experience a small fireworks show, aka the Weasley's Wildfire Whiz-Bangs that Fred and George used during the OWL exams.
This is also the last moment with a guide because from this point onwards, the experience becomes completely self-guided. I'm not sure if many people know this, but you are free to explore at your own pace. Take as many photos as you'd like and spend more time in the areas that interest you most. And this is important because although you have an entry slot, there is no time limit to how long you can spend in the studio.
Depending on the time of year you visit, the decorations inside the Great Hall and throughout the studio may be different. The different seasonal themes like Magical Mischief or Hogwarts in the Snow completely transform the atmosphere and the focus of certain aspects of the tour. So what you see on the day may not be exactly what we experienced and what you are seeing on this video right now.
This is a layout of the studio. And although it may look small at first glance, most people spend at least 3 to 4 hours exploring. One thing we genuinely loved is that you are not just staring at sets behind barriers. There are interactive features throughout the entire experience. For example, the Harry Potter activity passport you picked up at the beginning. Inside, there are 7 stamps hidden across the studio that you need to find using the clues provided. There are also hints to spot golden snitches and even a small quiz you can complete as you go.
To be honest, just completing the passport adds a whole extra layer of fun to the visit, but that's not all. There are interactive buttons that trigger sounds or magical effects, mini shows where staff explain and demonstrate how certain scenes were filmed or how specific sets were created. And in some seasonal events, you can even get hands-on and create something for yourself. For example, we made our own howler, just like the one Mrs. Weasley delivered to Ron in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which we also got to take home as a free souvenir.
So yes, you'll see incredible sets, props and costumes, but there's plenty to do, not just to look at.
The studio doesn't follow a strict theme or chronological order of the films. Instead, it's organized in a way that focuses on the filmmaking process rather than the storyline. At the beginning, we did notice we were walking through some of the smaller, more detailed sets, like Harry and Ron's bedroom, Dumbledore's office, and Hagrid's hut, alongside displays of original props and costumes.
When you approach a set, most of them are closed off, so you can't physically walk inside or touch them. But normally, right next to each one, there are information panels and small screens where cast and crew members explain how the set was built, filmed, or modified throughout the series. You'll hear fun behind-the-scenes stories, clever filming tricks, and little details you probably never noticed watching the films. Even if you are not a die-hard fan of Harry Potter, the level of detail, craftsmanship, and creativity behind everything is impressive enough that I think you'll still have a great time.
Before you reach the Forbidden Forest, which is the first really large and immersive set, you already have passed a few live demonstrations and interactive experiences. This is also where you will find the green screen areas. Here you can experience the effect of riding a broomstick through the green screen effects. This is optional and you don't have to do it, but if you love the pictures and videos so much, you can purchase them afterwards. These are the prices, which depend on what package you choose.
We also have a great news. There are toilets throughout the venue. The first ones being available to the right of the Forbidden Forest. After the Forbidden Forest, you'll come across the Hogwarts Express set. and this was genuinely one of our favorite parts. Seeing the full train on platform 9 3/4 is quite special.
You can actually step inside one of the carriages, and what's really clever is that each compartment is designed to reflect a different moment from the films in chronological order. So as you walk down the train, you're basically moving through memory lane.
This is also where we took part in the Howler activity, although depending on when you visit, seasonal events may change what's available. There's also a cafe and a shop located in this section.
From what we noticed, most of the items are very similar to what's sold in the main shop at the entrance and exit, so unless you really want something straight away, it's probably worth waiting until the end of the tour before making any purchases. Before moving on, you can also have another go at the green screen effects. This time you would be ditching the broomstick and catching a ride on the famous Hogwarts Express. After platform 9 3/4, you will reach the food court and the outdoor courtyard area. This is your halfway break.
Here, you can either buy food from the cafe or eat the food you brought with you. And this is important because if you pack your own snacks, this is the only place you are allowed to eat them. We personally decided to buy food and of course a butter beer because it felt part of the full experience. Just a heads up, the food options are very fast food style. Burgers, hot dogs, burritos, fries, and a few salad options, including vegan options.
We shared a burger with fries and one butter beer and it cost us £22. It's not cheap, but for London, it's also not outrageous. And when you buy a butter beer, you are technically getting a free souvenir because you get to keep the cup. Even better news is that they provide these cleaning stations so you can clean your butter beer cup and avoid sticky fingers for the rest of your tour.
Outside in the courtyard, you'll also find a few sets, including the privet drive as well as the night bus and the greenhouse. Inside the greenhouse is where you can pull the mandrakes out of the pots, and as you lift them, they start screaming, which is quite fun or annoying, depending how you see it. Once you finish your break, it's time to head back indoors, and this second half is even more impressive.
Our favorite and seriously the most detailed set was Gringotts Bank. When we reached the entrance, we literally stood there in awe because of how impressive it is. We felt like we were in the Harry Potter movies. In this second half of the tour, you will walk through the bigger and more immersive sets. And something that really surprised us was a mini show where the dragon breathes fire and basically burns the building. It's wild to see in person.
There are still a couple of interactive shows where a staff member explains more about a specific set. For example, at Diagon Alley. And wow, Diagon Alley itself is even bigger and more detailed than we expected. When we went, they had this new display that looked like a vending machine, but inside was a dragon roasting the nuts.
Something we wish we had done more was asking staff members to share secrets, meaning fun facts or tips about each set. Because at the beginning of the tour, in the introduction sections, they explained that all the staff are what they like to describe themselves as Harry Potter nerds. And we only ended up asking twice. So a takeaway tip is to make use of this. It really does enhance your experience.
After Diagon Alley, the last room of the tour is, of course, the Hogwarts Castle model. A fun fact, the Hogwarts Castle you see in the movies is actually a miniature too, and this is the exact same size as they used in the film.
A highlight of the room was that because of the magical mischief theme, every so often there was a mini virtual fireworks show. It was such an incredible way to end the tour. In total, we spent around 3 hours and 45 minutes exploring. And even for Max, who's not a Harry Potter fan, it was an amazing experience.
Remember, if you want cheaper tickets, scan the QR code on screen or check the link in the description.
If you have any questions about the experience, drop them in the comments. And while you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click one of the videos on screen to keep learning about London.